All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform. Of course, on 1010XL.com. You can catch the archive version there on their app as well. And, of course, we are live on Facebook. Good morning, Facebook. How you doing out there on 1010's page and on my personal page? And then my great producer, Graham Marsh, he throws it all over the place, whether it's YouTube, Yardbarker, Spotify, Instagram. It's all over the place. All you got to do is check it out. And
if you have a platform to consume content.
That's right. Content is king. How you doing, my friend?
Fantastic, sir.
Good morning to you.
Oh, yeah.
Everything good?
Oh, yeah.
Good
I'm
weekend?
Back. Was a good weekend. I was out of town. I was at my cousin's wedding.
Oh, cool.
All weekend. We were in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful wedding.
Yeah. It's pretty up there. My older brother used to live up there.
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Love Raleigh,
yeah,
man. Really,
cool.
really like Raleigh.
Yep.
Raleigh and Charlotte, love both of those. Bunch of that side of family
awesome.
lives in Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte's a really cool place.
North Carolina overall, really, really good state. We like it a lot. But yeah, man, really good weekends.
Cool.
Great wedding.
Yep.
Open bar.
Oh.
So hard to be mad at an
open
open bar and a live
weddings
band.
to have, right?
Of course.
Or go to. That's for sure. Well, that's awesome. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day out there. I know I did, man. We spent a lot of time at the beach. Just, I like the sun. I like running around, and playing games and whatever. We'll play little paddle ball. We got this new game. My brother and his sons came up with it. We keep playing it. It's just with the volleyball. It can bounce once, but you got to keep it within the pack. You can't let it hit the ground. If you have to let it bounce, it just keeps the heart rate going and whatnot. But my favorite part, I swear, like 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon to almost sundown, where the weather's coming down, the sun's going down, the beach is beautiful. It's just, man, one of my favorite times.
Down by the beach, you got that
beach.
breeze,
yeah,
too.
The breeze.
Whew.
It's just nice, man. But I hope everybody had a great, great weekend. I know I did as well. This show brought to you by Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, formerly AA Bailable Bail Bonds, right down there on Phillips Highway in St. Augustine. Also has an office in Clay County. Chris is a personal friend of mine. He helped a family friend out about 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. Tell you, shining light in a time of just a little bit of darkness. But if you get in trouble out there and you need bail, you got to make bail. Call my friend Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, the number one name in the bail game, 904-822-BAIL, 822-BAIL. That's Jimmy Smith. Pick a number 2 and then bail, right? Pretty simple stuff. Maybe we'll have to come up with a famous number 2. Also brought to you by J-Dog Junk Removal. Listen, these guys, veteran-owned and operated. You know how I feel about the vets. I love them all. They do a great job, and no job's too small. They try to refurbish as much as they can. They were recently able to refurbish 4 motorized wheelchairs, and they gave them to veterans in need. So they'll do that as well. But if you got a bunch of junk you got to get rid of, you're moving, your office, whatever, they come in, they take care of it, and they clean up after themselves. Check them out online at jdogjunk.removal.com. I love my sponsors. Got to give a shout-out to all of them. You guys are great. So let's get into it. So I was telling Graham before this show, look, mini camp's over, off season's over. 5 weeks go by fast for the player. Trust me, I remember them just flying by. But for us, it doesn't. You just can't wait. You're chomping at the bit, right? You got pretty much 5 weeks till they get to training camp. And look, I'm as hyped as anybody else of our Jacksonville Jaguars. There's no question about it. I believe that with and it's all it starts with Doug. It's not all Doug, but it starts with Doug and his staff. And just I'll throw Trent in there as well. Just that the culture they created. I truly believe in that. I thought one of the most impressive things that they did in a short period of time was they instilled and then instilled a culture and kept pretty much everybody in that locker room. There wasn't a whole lot of turnover. A lot of times there's turnover, right? You got your roster to begin with, then you get them for a year, and you're like, yeah, I don't know about this guy, I don't know about this guy. We can bring in this guy, I know him from another team. I got my other friend's a coach over here, he raves about so-and-so, we should bring him in. No, it was hardly any turnover at all. They kept their guys, which I think's pretty incredible in 1 year, especially after the Urban Meyer fiasco. Like, that's pretty impressive, just taking it from ground level. So I believe in that. I believe in Doug and all that philosophy. I think year 2 in his system is going to be awesome. They're going to be a tough offense to stop. There's no doubt about it. They've got more firepower. They have more speed. They have Trevor coming into his own, of course. We expect him to pick up where he left off, which I would imagine that's going to happen. I feel good about that. We've added Ridley, the offensive line. We've got 2 new starters, kind of new, obviously in Harrison, but Little's played plenty. He'll be our starter, going in. So, offensively, you expect them to just be really, really good. And I do too. Now, here's the other side of that. Call it the devil's advocate, whatever you want. It's just the other side of it. So now every team that they've played, their defensive coaches and staff, what have you, they've studied the Jags. They're studying the Jags. They're studying Doug Peterson, his offense. They're studying what he did in Philly, what he took from Philly and brought to Jacksonville, what he added in Jacksonville. Everybody does this. This isn't rocket science. They study Trevor. They find out what they believe his weaknesses are. How do they attack him? How do they defend him? They basically look. It's a year of data that they get to decipher and figure out how can we stop it? How can we beat them on defense against this? And we all know. I mean, I didn't even mention ETN or Tank or any of these home run hitters that we have in the backfield as well, right? We know, and I'm going to get into Engram in just a minute. But when you think of how they're going to defend him, well, yeah. So what are they going to have to do? I say it all the time. You're going to have to beat the game plan. That's next. The culture's there. We know that. Now you got to beat the game plan of the opposing team, and they do you too, obviously. But they're going to scheme against you, try to confuse you, try to confuse Trevor, which I think's a very hard thing to do. I think he's a very smart young man, and getting smarter, as far as being more experienced, looking at everything.
It has happened though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it can
Trevor
happen.
has been confused before. I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think he's maturing out of that.
Yeah.
That first half of the Chargers game was a confused QB.
Oh, no doubt, without question, and a lot off his game. Got a little flustered.
This is going. I'm sorry to cut you off. This was
you're good, man.
This
you're
was just
good. I like it.
That first half of the Chargers game was a little bit of a microcosm of exactly what you're talking about in terms of that was Brandon Staley had clearly watched the tape of what had been working for them.
Yeah, they took away that
back
short
half
game
of the season, and they started just sitting on those routes. They knew exactly where Trevor wanted to go.
Right.
And there's I think the worst interception Trevor probably threw of the season was the Broncos one. Yeah. And then maybe the Houston one.
Yep.
Outside of those two in the red zone, the worst interception I think he threw all year was that second one to Asante Samuel Jr. in the Chargers game. Because Asante just sat there the whole play, knew exactly who he was going to go.
Well, and that's what that teams are going to do, right? Because that's how you get your quarterback comfortable. You get him in a rhythm. First guy open, hit him. First guy open, hit him. Well, if they're sitting on those routes, you're not going to number 2. You're throwing it. Now they got to combat that. I think they will, and I think Trevor will learn from all that. But look, at the end of the day, it's got to happen. I mean, I'll say that. Look, recently Trevor and Christian Kirk were named top 100 players in the league. I think Prisco had him, and somebody on PFF might have him. Somebody else had him. I agree with that. I agree. The only thing I'm going to say, again, the other side of the coin, Christian Kirk, who had a great year, and I love the way they use him, he's got to make those catches in the big games this year. Okay, he's got to, and he knows it. I'm not uncovering a rock. I'm not taking a knock on him either, but the reality is he's got to make those big catches. And those big catches could have played a difference last year in various games, Kansas City being one of them.
Kansas City being 2 of them.
Two of them, right.
He had a drop in the regular season game
in
Arrowhead,
game, right.
And the playoff
Down
game.
by the 5, right, he did. It hit him right in the chest, too.
There were two different times in Arrowhead for 2 different games. So he's got to make those catches.
That even reiterates even more. We got it. Christian Kirk's got to definitely make those. If he's a top 100 player, you make those catches all day long, right? You may miss one here or there. And then Trev, look, the last 10 games are all the way through. Look, first half of San Diego, Graham's right. I mean, he was confused. He was flustered. He threw bad decisions, obviously the interceptions, but Second half, he turned it around, and they did make adjustments, and they will continue to do that. So, look, I think they're going to be a very exciting offense to watch. I do. They have the potential to score a lot of points. Now the question comes down to Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, and company and staff putting together the game plan to really maximize what Trevor can do and what their playmakers can do. What did Doug say recently? Put the ball in the hands of the playmakers. That's all I want you to do, right? I'm paraphrasing here, but get them the ball. I'm going to get them open. Boom. And give them a chance to make a play. Speed, speed, speed. So you understand it. The defense, we'll talk about the defense at another time. I want to see it. The last month was good. Yeah, but before that it was only okay, and sometimes it wasn't very good at all. I mean, they weren't very good on third down. Have they done enough? Do they have enough? Will they do any more? We'll talk about that at a later time. But look, when you look at Doug and what he's done for this offense in 1 year, what he's done. Look, Trevor stepped up. There's no doubt. He's got all the tools, and the job of the coach is to do what? Put his players in the best possible position to win, to succeed. They do that. Look, part of it is the success is part of it, and this is the way the league's going. It's not just the Jags. It's that game plan. It's that play calling. It's knowing what to do on how to get your team into a rhythm, how to, counter punch when they try to take something away, how to utilize all my talent. We saw it all throughout the second half of the year, right? Engram would have a huge day one week. The next day next game it was Kirk, and Engram was just had 5 or 3 or 4 catches, right? They knew how to adapt. Now you got Ridley, so it's going to be exciting. But a lot of it, in my opinion, is the player, and a lot of it is the coaches as well, which brings me to Evan Engram. I find July 15th is the deadline where he decides long-term or he signs the tag. The cap's going up $50 million next year. Why not just sign the tag and count it? Hey, listen, Evan Engram had a phenomenal year with the Jaguars. There's no doubt about it. When he was with the Giants, he had good years. Not incredible years like he did last year, but good years. The guy's a great athlete. He had some issues catching up there, not too much down here. He had a great year. I believe a big part of that is Doug Peterson and how he gets the tight end open. And let's be honest. I mean, you got speed like Evan Engram. You want to get him open. Sometimes you got to throw him open. Your quarterback does, but a lot of times the play call is going to get him open because there's a mismatch. It's like cover. We say this all the time. One of the hardest positions on defense is that nickel cornerback because normally it's in space and they can go any which way they want to go. They know where they're going. You're only kind of guessing. You're reading and reacting off of him, right? It's
the most underrated position in the sport.
It's so hard. I mean, look, Tom Brady made a career out of the slot. Think of all the great slot and the tight end, but think of all the great slot players that he has had. And they utilize that mismatch all the time.
It's the most underrated, in my opinion, in terms of, nobody drafts nickel corners super high.
I think they are now.
And people don't typically pay nickels a ton of money in free agency. It's always viewed as the outside corners are more important, right?
Right. I think that's changed though, or is changing.
I agree. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right with the Brady example. Yep. It's like every team and their fans always want to value the outside corner so much more until it's 3rd and 4,
right?
And there's a slot receiver or a tight end that they can't
yards.
stop that's getting 7 every single time, and you can't get off the field.
And that's the point with Evan Engram. He's like a slot receiver playing tight end. That's the mismatch. So if I'm in man, and I'm going against man, and I got Engram 1-on-1 with a linebacker or a safety, 9 out of 10 he's going to win that route just by pure athleticism. Because if they're in man with no help, especially, which isn't always the case, if you're in cover 2, he can play with you too. Because that Mike Backer, he's got to take the tight end vertical, meaning down the field, so he can, create that mismatch there. So that to me is like, so if I'm Evan Engram back to, and I don't want to get in another man's pocket, man, that's not my style. And I'm signing the tag and taking another chance on me. I know they've added Ridley. It's going to take a little bit away, but Doug's offenses are tight end-esque, man. I don't want to say they're built around the tight end because all offenses today are built around the QB, but I tell you what, man, the way he utilizes the tight end, go back in the Philly days, go back to, how Ertz and other guys, Goddard, just guys that, really did well under him. Whether it's one, a starter, or two, it didn't matter. They found a way. So I expect Evan to be here. If I'm him, I don't even want unless the long-term deal, you're factoring next year's cap a little bit, then okay. If I'm him, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you want to give me a 3-year deal? We'll factor in okay, I'm expecting to have another great year. I'm hoping you are too. Yes, we are, Evan. Great. Well, if I did the tag this year and waited, it's probably going to cost you a lot more money for me to even stay here, even if you can afford me or want me.
Well,
right?
The Jaguars will be able to afford more because, like you said, that cap will go up.
Yeah, exactly.
So for Evan, I could not agree more with what you just said. And I've been saying that since this year ended. I was like, man, if you're any free agent this coming season where the franchise tag is an opportunity, I don't care what team you play for, sign the tag, dude.
Yeah.
Bet on yourself for a year, make a ton of money but everyone always acts like the franchise tag is not a ton of money. It's a ton of money.
Right, it is.
It's only
in
1
the
year.
real world, it's a ton of money. In the world of, and I'm sorry to,
you're good.
In the world of extensions, it's not, right? Because
it's
devil's advocate. Not that that's the theme today. Weird movie. I mean, great movie, but totally freaked me out as a born and raised Catholic. Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. Where was I going with that? What were you just saying? Remind me what were you just saying?
We were talking about the franchise tag and how relative to an extension, it's not a ton of money because it's only 1 year.
So the devil's advocate, what if you get hurt, that's the money you get.
Correct.
But like to your point, it's $13, $10, $11 million. You can live a great life, even after they take out taxes, even after you pay everybody, and you got $5 million net for the 1 year, you're living a pretty good life. Now, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. I get it. But you want that big, what do you want? You want the $60 million guaranteed. $60 million. I get hurt in year 2, I'm still getting that money, right? I mean, that's what you're battling against. I don't know. I'm with you. I'd be like, you can get hurt walking down the street. I can get hurt anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll take another chance. Doug's going to get me open. Trevor's going to be better. The speed on the outside is going to open up deep underneath because someone's going to have to double somebody. I'm going to have a huge year.
And again, if I'm Engram or his agent, on a normal year, under normal circumstances, if you are that kind of player, you do want to fight against the tag because you want the long-term extension. I totally understand that. That makes perfect sense. Of course.
You want the money.
Especially in a sport like football. I totally get that.
Yep.
I do believe, though, that this particular offseason is not normal circumstances because of what we've both already said, how substantially the salary cap is going up next season.
Yep.
If I'm an agent and the team that my client plays for wants to give you the tag this year, and I'm saying, man, if you take that tag, you make top of the market money this year, you bet on yourself one more time, you have a good season. Yep. The contract extension you'll sign next year is substantially more than the extension you would sign this offseason. Go get you some of that Amazon money next season. That's what, if I'm Engram, the Jaguars will save a bunch of money if they extend Engram this offseason.
Right. I agree, and you want that big money. You just got to weigh that out. You do take a risk, but you take a risk every time you step into the weight room or the practice field
100%.
or the game field. So, speaking of which, did anybody see my friends over at Miller Electric? Did you see the cafeteria? Did you see the picture of that? Oh, man. I'm getting hungry just looking at it. There's no food out there at all. It looks unbelievable. That facility, I can't wait to see that facility. The Miller Electric Performance Center. No doubt about that. But, look, it's Evan's going to be here, and that's all that really matters. For this year, I'll take it. I want him long term, of course, but I'll take this year because we're making a run. You got the pieces in place. You have the momentum. Yes, you got to earn it. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you're playing some really good teams. There's no doubt about it. I think fans are, thinking the title in the AFC South is shoe-in. I don't. I think it's not going to be as easy as we all think it's going to be. I think other teams will be better. I expect us to win the division. I expect Tennessee to give us a run for our money like they normally do. We'll see about, Indy and Houston. It's funny, like, I read about Houston. Well, DeMeco Ryans feels really good about Houston, man. They feel really good about where they're at and how they're growing and whatnot, right? They feel good in other – a lot of teams feel really good about their teams right now. Now, not every team, right? There are teams that are probably like, oh, man, we're gonna have to take it on the chin this year, but maybe next year with better draft, they know it's coming. I would imagine. Obviously, they're not going to say that publicly. Because and it's funny, coaches at any level be like, yeah, but we're young and stuff, or oh yeah, we got
I think
this,
you
we got
will.
that.
I think you will agree with this statement. If you ever think something in the NFL is a shoe-in, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever think anything in the NFL is a guarantee,
sure thing,
you're wrong.
You never know. Health alone.
One of the big reasons that tons of Jags fans are thinking that the division's locked up is, oh, look at Indy. They're no good, whatever. Indy. They beat the Chiefs last year.
Right. Yeah.
They beat the Chiefs last year.
Yeah.
Who won the Super Bowl?
No, I know. That was early, though, wasn't it?
It was, but still. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like,
right.
That's kind of the point is don't think,
right,
if you're the Jaguars, don't think that you're above Houston stealing one on you.
Yeah.
Or the Colts stealing one on you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm not going to pick the Jaguars to win those games. I of course will.
I am.
But
I'll pick them to win too.
Listen. I kind of looking back through the schedule. I think there's 10 games that they will be pretty substantial favorites in.
Yeah.
Because you have the AFC South, that's 6 games, and then the NFC South. I think they're better than all 4 of those teams. You got to go to New Orleans, so maybe you won't be a huge favorite in that one.
Going to be all right.
So let's say 9.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call it 9 games that they'll probably be pretty hefty favorites in if the game were played today. They're going to drop a few of those.
Yeah.
Because that's just how the NFL works.
Yeah.
They're going to drop a few of those.
You have a bad day.
And then in turn, they may beat the Bengals or beat the Chiefs or what. Like, that's how the league works. You're not going to win every game you're expected to.
No.
That's just,
because the athletes are the same on the other side. They may not be as
the league
good
is
of football
so
players,
damn
but
good.
athletically they are.
The worst team in the league is capable of beating the best team in the league any given, like legitimately it can happen. Yeah. And that's why the NFL is so great.
And look, health alone, you just never know. If you stay healthy, you got a great chance to go a long way, and look, I think another year under Doug. I think defensively, which we'll get into at another show, maybe this Friday, under Mike Caldwell is going to be different and needs to be, no doubt about it. Talking about speed, just a quick look around the National Football League. Dalvin Cook says him and D-Hop would make a great 1-2. Speculation down in Miami. I don't know if they can even fit him, but, man, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, then throw D-Hop, then add Dalvin Cook. That'd be pretty cool. Right?
It's the all-name team for sure.
No doubt.
That's the all-bust team.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. They grabbed Teron Armstead, that left tackle last year. I'm still concerned about Tua, just his health. I mean, we could sit here all day, but it doesn't matter the size. Well, it does when you clang your head on the turf from a blow from a 300-pound dude that's running like a 4.9.
Most QBs
that tends to hurt and leave a mark.
I agree. And most QBs that are Tua's size are more mobile than Tua is.
Yeah.
Tua is mobile. He's not a statue. But when you think of guys that are his size,
right,
you think of
he's
Kyler Murray.
Or Jalen Hurts.
Like someone like that can really, really move.
No, you're right.
And he's not quite that level, so it does leave you more susceptible to getting beat up. Now, they got a good line, and I think they have one of the best play callers in football.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel's an unbelievable play caller.
He's a wizard. He even looks like one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He does. He looks like, what was that game? Oh, what did they call the board game that they always played back in the day? Witches and Wizards or something like that. I forget. Dungeons and Dragons, it was called.
Dungeons and Dragons.
He looks like he'd be one of those kids in there, But, no, you're right. And that, look, I mean, if they could fit him, oh, man. Dalvin Cook, it's funny, like, he's a home run hitter. Like, you need a home run hitter. I don't know how he is out of the backfield. I didn't look that up as far as
he's got really good
receptions.
hands.
He's great hands out of the backfield. So
dating back to college, he's had good hands.
I tell you what, if you're running back out there, you better have a full game. I'm telling you right now. And trust me, I'm gonna say this a little hypocritically because when you don't need the cowbell is when you need the cow. I don't need to stop the run until I have to stop the run and stop the clock and give the ball back to my team.
Or the opposite.
I'm
not super worried about having a running back until I got 5 minutes left in the game and I'm up 4.
Right.
And I need to go get me. I need to go get me 6 first downs and put this game away.
Exactly.
I really love a bell cow around that time. You know what I'm saying?
Or someone that can at least get me, something like, a first down.
I really like the backfield here in Jacksonville.
I do too.
I want
to see Tank live, man. I'm going to see him all live. Look, running around in helmets and shorts is cool.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Let's see that. Let's see him in pads. I think it's going to be. I like what Doug said. Keep up running.
The only thing
you better, man. It's funny because when you get the 5 weeks off, you feel like I got to chill, but you do. You got to still pump it. Still towards the end. Like I would always like I'd work really hard till about maybe like 3 days before reporting, and then I wouldn't go to the gym, but I would stretch and just kind of relax and really get my body ready, to endure pain.
Well, if you had any soreness left over or whatever, you want to get that out probably before camp starts, right?
No doubt. Want to be fresh for sure.
I think going back to the running back thing, I think the only thing you can really tell when they don't have pads on or anything is can they catch the ball a little bit?
Right.
Because you can tell a lot of running backs if they're really trying hard to catch the ball or if it feels natural.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Like it's no big deal. Like
we got backs that can catch it.
Yeah.
I like all our backs catching the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Listen, Hasty was a weapon last year.
He was really good.
We've got some
and Hasty's
talent.
Probably 4th on the depth chart now.
Who's third?
You got ETN, Bigsby, Dearness Johnson. And then
I would say Hasty's third. And
above Dearness Johnson?
Yeah, but we'll see how he's utilized. Look, his record as a special teamer is unbelievable. Johnson. I mean, he's got like 700 snaps as a special teamer. So
this coaching staff
have that role.
This coaching staff really, this staff and the front office really value special teams.
Yeah,
a guy's ability to play special teams has impacted who they have picked up personnel-wise. And I don't think they're wrong at all.
Yeah.
I think it's very like if this is not a guy that's going to start every down, he better play special teams or he's not coming to Jacksonville.
No, right. Speaking of special, I didn't even mention Agnew today. Shame on him. I mean, I love that dude as a weapon.
Me too.
I love him as a returner, don't get me wrong, but I love him as an offensive weapon. And he can run routes, and he's got good hands. He could probably play nickel for you in a pinch.
Yeah.
He was a DB at one time.
His ability to transform into receiver like it was nothing.
I know.
Was unbelievable, man. Just
natural,
insane.
Easy. Great hands. He
does.
Well, I shouldn't say great. He dropped a couple deep, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And that's the thing with this team, and Trevor included. We've talked about it. Look, just a little caveat. I go back to 96 when we were 9-7. We could have been 11-5. I'm telling you, we could have been 11-5 in our second year all day long if we just made a play here or play there in 2 or 3 games. Easily. You look back at last year, they easily could have been 11 and what would that be? 6, right? Yeah, 17 games.
That's
they
true. But what's the theme of today?
Right.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah. Any given Sunday.
Probably
right?
could have been 7 and 9.
You
6
know what?
And 10
You're right.
too.
That's fair.
That's the league, man.
Say that.
Well, it's like look at this past season, man.
That's for sure.
Look at this past season, man. If the Cowboys get 1 first down, they lose that game.
Yeah, true. No, you're right.
The Titans game, last game of the year here.
If you don't get
if Dobbs doesn't fumble the ball, man.
Yeah. No, right. But that's the game, right?
But at the same time, if Trayvon Walker doesn't get that roughing the passer against Houston, or if Trevor doesn't throw the
pick. Yeah.
But why do you think the NFL is so successful? Seems like every damn week is like that, man.
That's right.
Every game across the league.
Yep.
There's typically every week like maybe 1 or 2 blowouts.
Right.
Other than that, man, if you're watching the red zone on any given Sunday, it feels like every last game is coming down to the last 5 minutes.
Like I said earlier, everybody you go against is the same freak athlete that you are.
They're so
for the
good.
Most part. So whether they're a great team collectively, individually, they can play. You know what I mean? They're that athletic. Now, they may not be great football players all the time, but they're great enough athletes to give you a run for your money.
It's
right. Go to the basketball court and go against a bunch of athletic guys. I'm not talking professionals, just guys from the street, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
It's kind of like in golf, like pro golfers. Every last guy on the tour can crush the ball.
Yeah.
Every single tournament comes down to a couple of putts.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing in football.
Think about trying to make it in golf.
Oh
like
my God.
The line.
Yeah. Oh my God.
One of my really good friends from Boston College, Scott Wood, we call him Woody. He plays out at the L.A. Country Club. He's from L.A.
Really?
He shot a 64 there.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's like,
wow.
But he can't he's never really gone for it, but he'll tell you, he's like, man, no, I'm not anything like these guys. They're unbelievable. They can do it.
It's so mental. That's what made Tiger Woods so good for so long. Yep. What made Tiger Woods one of the best athletes to ever live was his putting.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't his driving.
No, you need those.
He was good at all that stuff, obviously.
Closing.
But what separated Tiger from everybody else was his putting.
Yep.
And again, that's not different, to bring it back to football, that's not different from QBs.
Right.
Like a couple of playoff wins here and there.
Yeah.
Because of one first down or one completion or one incompletion or one interception.
Yeah.
That separates, like, think about like Dan Marino.
No, right. No, you're absolutely
one of the best QBs to ever live.
I think about like comparing making putts to ball placement from the quarterback.
Yeah.
Putting that ball in the right, there's always the right spot to put it. There's always the right spot. You can give me any route, and I'll tell you where the ball needs to be.
And the difference is inches.
Oh, and compare, especially like everyone's like, well, in college he did it. Well, the window shuts so fast.
Correct.
And they're not even big to begin with. Most of them. Now there's always a window, right? That cover 2, there's always a window. Why do they make those completions? If there's no rush, because they know at the specific time the corner's going to drop them to give them to the safety. That's how they do it.
There's going to be a few yards
before he goes right there in that hole, right down the sideline.
You got to throw that on a rope too.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I remember a couple years ago. Not that, probably 2 or 3 years ago, whenever Fitzmagic was still in Miami.
Yeah.
With Tua, and they had their kind of back and forth year or whatever.
Yep.
I think
2 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick was mic'd up for one of the games, and he was kind of coaching up Tua, helping him out on the sideline.
Yeah.
And he said that exact thing. He's like, hey man, like you're looking for someone to break wide open.
Yep.
That's not going to happen.
No, throw it to the spot.
He's like, when you see a guy open, you got to go.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're never going to find anybody.
Right.
Because Tua was holding on to the ball too long.
Right.
And that was part of the reason he's getting hurt, because he's holding on to the ball too long and getting hit in the backfield.
And again, back to the point, if you throw the ball in the right spot, you can get him open.
Yes.
It's hard to trail. People think you just, you could just trail. The guy makes any kind of, little jog in his route.
Right.
He's creating this little space. It's not like, it's really hard to stay on somebody's hip when they're going across the field, especially.
And if you're like Tua or even Trevor, and you went to a Bama or a Clemson or a school like that was competing for national titles, you were dealing with 5-star wide receivers
that were open,
that were just torching dudes.
Yeah, they were open.
And you could throw them a little screen. They'd make one guy miss to the house.
Or just a quick slant. Hit him in stride, smell you later.
And all of a sudden, just like we're talking about, that window's not the same anymore. Because you've got those receivers, but you're also facing those DBs every week, too.
Yep.
So.
Plus, you got those gigantic men with long arms
that
can bat down balls.
Oh, and by the way, those defensive ends coming after you are just as fast as you now.
No doubt. You
can't just escape and run right by them anymore.
No doubt. Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Did you see the Super Bowl ring that the Kansas City Chiefs won? Fellas, if you're getting married, you better get on it. This is huge. 16.1 carats. There were 609 round diamonds, 4 Marquise diamonds, which must be really great diamonds, and 35 rubies to make up 16.1 carats of that Super Bowl ring. That must be a sight to be seen. There's no doubt about that. Hey, they deserve it. Guess what? Cap's going up 50 mil. Next year, it's going to be like 25 carats, right, to the winner of the Super Bowl. Will it be in Jacksonville? That is the question.
I have a really quick question, because I know we're wrapping up. When a team wins a Super Bowl and they do get those rings, who foots that bill?
The team.
So the owner's just like, I got it?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I would imagine. The league
the right guard is not paying for his own ring, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Paying for the ring.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No.
I never knew how that worked.
No.
I figured it was the owner.
It's your reward.
And it's not the league. It wouldn't be the league, would it?
No. I mean, I can't speak from experience, unfortunately. That'd be great if I could, because I'd be tinking it on the damn table.
Of course.
Can you imagine having multiple? Be playing the piano on every damn bar,
Think about Brady with his heavy hands.
I know. Bill Russell when they show
Oh, my God.
All in the thumbs and everything. Unbelievable. All right, that's going to do it for Catching Up with Tommy Mack, of course, with myself and Graham Marsh here on 1010XL's podcast platform. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll get into some defense on Friday. I'll come right into the 1010XL podcast studio after my appearance on Jaguars Today from 10 a.m. to 12 noon here on 1010XL. I want to thank Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, of course, the number one name in the bail game, and J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Check them out at jdogjunkremoval.com. So until next time, y'all stay safe, be cool out there, and we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.